Good morning and welcome to Training Tuesday, offered by the Chief Procurement Office for General Services. We're going to go over our Training Tuesday agenda for today. We've got our updates and reminders. We'll explain code and rule. We'll go over some important CPO-GS resources, highlight additional training opportunities, and end things with our Spotlight Illinois. For our updates and reminders, we have our Domestic Products Act compliance report is due by us to SBOs by July 1st, 2024. This is per CPO notice 2024.12. The end of the fiscal year ends in 8 business days. And remember, tomorrow is a holiday. We will be celebrating Juneteenth, so all state offices are closed in observance of that. And it's important to note that the last business day of the fiscal year is on Friday, June 28th. At the end of this training, we will be announcing 2 new training opportunities. So stay tuned for that information, as you will have the opportunity to sign up today. Now let's dive into the Procurement Code and Administrative Code. Illinois Procurement Code 30 ILCS 500 was created by the General Assembly, which means it was voted on and put into law. The CPO-GS office didn't create the Procurement Code, but rather it is the duty of the CPO-GS to ensure compliance with the code. Illinois Administrative Code 44 ILL Admin Code, referred to as rules, and overseen by the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules. JCAR is a bipartisan legislative oversight committee created by the General Assembly in 1977. Pursuant to the Illinois Administrative Procedure Act, the committee is authorized to conduct systematic reviews of administrative rules promulgated by state agencies. JCAR conducts several integrated review programs, including a review program for proposed, emergency, and preemptory rulemaking, a review of new public acts, and complaint review program. Rules offer more context and provide the how-to. Part 1 of Title 44 are the rules specific to the CPO-GS office. You'll see here that the article of the code corresponds to the section of rule. So, for instance, Article 20-60 of code is duration of contracts, and Section 2060 of rule is duration of contracts. Code is the law passed by the General Assembly. The rulemaking process is multi-stepped and time-consuming, so there are instances where the rule is out of date due to a change voted into law by the legislature. This means it's critically important to always refer to the code. In this case, you'll see the discrepancy between the number of days the PPB and CEI have to review renewals and extensions exceeding $249,000. The rule states 30 days, but the code states 14 days. Though, as we know, code always conquers rule. So in this case, and in all other cases, the code is the clear winner. CPO notices. So CPO-GS notices must be checked routinely to see if they apply to your procurement. For instance, CPO Notice 24.10 changed the small purchase designation threshold from 10,000 inclusive to 20,000 inclusive. It also prescribed the state agency heads shall accept responsibility for outlined conditions and that they must sign and return the state agency small purchase designation form to be in compliance. This change happened recently, and as you know, if you've been attending Training Tuesdays, we talked about this a lot, but it's always important to reference CPO notices to make sure that you are, if they apply to your procurements or not. Job aids. Job aids are a tool to assist you in utilizing the bid buy system. They don't contain all code, rules, or CPO notices guidance as they apply specifically to your procurement. It's your responsibility to make sure your procurement is in compliance with code, rules, and CPO notices. And always remember, code prevails. Now let's talk about some CPOGS resources. The CPOGS website is full of useful information and resources, so we're going to go over some key elements. First off, let's look at the statutes and rules link. You can click on this link from the main menu bar to access the code and rules we just discussed, along with other important procurement-related statutes and rules. Next, we have our CPOGS Training Center. Here you'll find our Training Tuesdays, our Bid Buy Training, and our Procurement Training. On our Training Tuesdays webpage, we have the link used to attend our Training Tuesdays and a searchable repository for past Training Tuesdays. Bid Buy Training includes the monthly Bid Buy Training and practice sessions, as well as on-demand videos. Procurement Training provides information for our upcoming instructor-led courses and an on-demand RFP template and commitment to diversity training that you can refer to at any time. At the bottom of the CPOGS website, you'll find additional resources. In Meet the Team, we have a full staff directory along with a PDF showing which SPO is assigned to each agency. In procurement opportunities, we direct the public to bid buy. Suspensions, debarments, voluntary exclusions, and voluntary non-participation agreements will show any vendors who are unable to respond to solicitations as a responsible bidder or offerer. Let's go more in depth on the ones I haven't mentioned yet. This icon is the bid buy hand. By clicking on this icon, you'll be directed to the bid buy landing page, which has resources for both vendors and state agencies. For state agencies, you'll see the link to our ever important job aids. Please note that we routinely update the job aids, so it is important that you use the job aids linked from this section as they are the most up to date. Here you'll also find our bid buy registration page, and please recall that per CPO Notice 2024.04, you must take the diversity and inclusion training to receive bid buy access, and this is an annual training. We also have bid buy specific training and standard FAQs for bid buy. One of our most utilized icons is the Procurement Resource Library. Here we have resources for vendors, training materials, CPO notices and memos, solicitation and contract templates and forms. This is where you're going to find the small business set-aside waiver, the IFB and RFP templates, procurement justification forms, and more. You'll also find the procurement bulletin and procurement gateway access request form. Additionally, you'll find the BEP waivers and exemptions. We also have the Small Business Set Aside Program icon, which is going to provide general information about the program, instruct small businesses on how to begin the registration process, and it provides the SBSP Set Aside Commodity Code List. We've covered this in different trainings. This is the list of NIGP codes set aside for small businesses, whether above or below the small purchase threshold. Make sure to reference this list when creating your procurements. Here you'll see the icon for the Unified Procurement Program, UP. This is where you'll find the processes and resources for state agencies, the resources for governmental units, including Illinois municipalities and qualified nonprofit agencies. You'll also find cooperative and consortiums approved for use. Next, we have the icon for our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion section. The FAQs are great for state personnel that are attempting to understand how to review the documentation, where to find certain information, and other frequent questions that have been asked and answered. The Resources section provides information to vendors on how to provide information when responding to the Commitment to Diversity vendor answer form. It's great to reference this section, especially if you're having a pre-bid conference. The guidance section provides the commitment to diversity vendor answer form and several other important documents and references for state employees and vendors. C2D definitions provides definitions that are used frequently in the guidance and discussion surrounding commitment to diversity. We've had a lot of questions regarding commitment to diversity, so I'd like to provide a brief overview. Per 30 ILCS 500-20-15, RFPs are required to include commitment to diversity that is 20% of the technical score. Please note that the RFP is divided into 3 sections: technical, C2D, and price. Technical is comprised of the offer's technical proposal, so all of the desirables that are being scored. If references or demos are part of your RFP, the points for those would also be included in the technical score. C2D must be 20% of the technical score. So if the agency had an RFP worth 100 technical points, the C2D points would be 20 points. The pricing points should be no less than 20% of the technical and C2D combined points. You can think of it as building on each section. Here are some other important websites: Bid by, our e-procurement system, the Illinois Procurement Gateway, IPG, which includes the Registered Vendor Directory, the Procurement Policy Board, which is important for communications reporting. Always make sure to ask your agency ethics officer if you're not sure whether a communication needs to be reported. And we have the Commission on Equity and Inclusion. The compliance section on their website contains information on goal setting. We hope you found this session on going over our code and rules and highlighting our resources useful. Again, please make sure to visit the CPOGS Training Center, where you'll find information about upcoming trainings. We want to highlight the diversity and inclusion in procurement training. The bid by registration form appropriately refers to CPO Notice 2024.04. This notice requires the requesting user to have completed the diversity and inclusion procurement training prior to being able to gain access. This on-demand training can be completed at any time. In order to access the training online, please follow the directions here or refer to CPO Notice 2024.04. This is on the OneNet platform, which is the same platform that agency personnel use to complete their annual ethics training and many other trainings. Our bid by monthly training will be held on July 10th. There's no need to register for our monthly bid by training. You can just drop in as you see fit. And our bid by practice session will be on July 11th. And here we're introducing one of our new offerings, and it is the Procurement Methods Small Purchase course approved by UPPCC for 4 contact hours. We're so excited to offer this course. It's an in-person course in Springfield, and registration doesn't guarantee your spot and is required. This course is limited to 16 participants, and additional registrants will be put on a wait list. You must bring a laptop with Wi-Fi capabilities. Look for more offerings this fall, and we just dropped that registration link in the chat, so go ahead and register as quickly as possible, as we only have those 16 spaces. The Introduction to Illinois Procurement will be held on August 7th. This is an online instructor-led course approved by UPPCC for 2 contact hours. This course is intended for state of Illinois procurement employees that have not previously taken the course, and you must register to attend. And here we have our other new course offering, which is Specifications. This has been approved by UPPCC for 3.5 contact hours. This course is also in person in Springfield, and registration doesn't guarantee your spot, though is required. This course is limited to 16 participants, and additional registrants will be put on a wait list. And again, look for more offerings in the fall. We just dropped that registration link in the chat as well. And as with all of our training courses, your full, active, and engaged presence is required to receive certification. Now we're going to go to our Spotlight Illinois. So welcome to DuQuoin. Key people in DuQuoin are Chief Jean-Baptiste DuQuoin, the city's namesake, born in 1750 and made chief of the Tamaroa tribe in 1767. We also have Ruby Berkeley. She was a writer and actress, and in 1953 she wrote It's Good to Be Black, a valuable record of Black life in Southern Illinois mining country. We also have Tyler Reddick, who won the NASCAR Xfinity Series in both 2018 and 2019. Draws to the area are, of course, the DuQuoin State Fair, which opened in 1923 as a private sector investment focusing on horse racing. The fair was taken over by the state in 1986 and showcases Southern Illinois heritage and agriculture. We also have Pyramid State Recreation Area, and at 19,700 acres, it's the largest IDNR site in the state. It's really beautiful. If you haven't gone, I suggest going. And Alongi's, it's a family-owned Italian restaurant that's been operating since 1933 and coined for bringing pizza to Southern Illinois. Our interesting fact is that from 1955 to 1980, DuQuoin hosted the Hambletonian Stakes, one of the most famous events in harness racing. If you have any questions, please send those over to the cpogs.training@illinois.gov email account. And thanks so much for attending, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great day.